Today, behind the build, we're going to explore tires and hubs. We want to talk to you about what makes them unique and why that's important to you. So the best way to show this off is going to be lifting the trailer up. Now I do want to say, don't try this at home. And I've also been working out, so that's why it's okay for me to do it. But let's get this trailer off the ground and look at these tires. Okay, now that we got it off the ground, let's get this tire off. Okay, as you can see, these hubs, they're pretty unique, but I actually want to head on over to Wisconsin at the Xplore manufacturer. Hub and the wheel bearings, what's the type of, because there are maintenance on these.
So about the only maintenance thing on the chassis, the hydraulic system is maintenance free with the exception of just checking your fluid levels on occasion. But the only other grease point is the actual hubs themselves. So because of that, what we made sure to do is do a greasable bearing system that's got a greaser, and you're able to easily remove this rubber cap, and you can get re-grease your bearings without the assembly.
Okay, so you don't actually have to pull this apart.
You don't have to pull that all apart and do anything. You just pump grease in there.
So is this like a buddy bearing, or?
It's different than the old-fashioned bearing buddies you'd have on your boat trailer, for example, where they force grease from this side in. Okay. And the problem with those, I used to have them on my boat trailer, is every time you pump grease in there, the grease got nowhere to go. Yeah. And so the grease eventually blows out the back seal, and then you create a bigger issue in the end. So this has a channel that goes all the way through the center of the spindle and injects the grease from the backside, pushing it towards us. Okay. So every time when we start pumping grease in here, that's why we see some grease residue right here. So it's pushing it's going in and around, pushing the old grease towards us. Okay. And so as the more grease I pump in here, so if we put a few thousand miles on this trailer and the grease is getting a little worn out, you'd be able to see the black old grease coming out towards us. You pump a bit, you can scoop it out, pump a bit, scoop it out, until you got fresh grease. And it's relatively clean, quick, easy process for anybody to do. So it's just a little detail that costs a little more to get this system, to get this hub, but we figured customers don't got time to be messing around. We want them to be
apart and having them
plain,
well, especially like a lot of people don't, so they have to take it somewhere.
And this is something anybody can do. You don't have to have any specialized tools. You just simply got a grease gun.
A grease gun and just
start squeezing it in.
Yeah, start squeezing.
And so there's no reason that any average person shouldn't be able to handle something as simple as this.
We don't. Yeah, we usually tell people on other trailers that you have to pull out the whole bearing.
Assemble everything, take the bearings. You got to get new seals. Yeah. Every time you do that, you got to buy stuff.
Yeah, you have to buy stuff, and most of them aren't confident. So we just say go find a Les Schwab or a tire place that does packs and greases bearings and take it. But like you don't realize that's like, well, that's finding the place, driving to the place, waiting or picking it up, and it's like. It becomes this 4-hour deal when this you just grab a gun and.
And again, if you're driving through rivers, if you're in the mud, if you're actually going through elements that a normal trailer is not going to see, having it convenient and easy becomes more valuable. Yeah. Because now you're less apt to have major failures because it is so simple. Yeah. To just quickly shoot a little grease in, after an excursion like that. So.
What are the names, the brand of these?
So these are they're made by Rockwell, which is a division of Dexter. Okay. Out of Texas. Okay. And so they make the whole axle assembly for us.
I've heard good things about Dexter's too, and Rockwell. That must be there.
And they're 5,000 pound each axle. Okay. So a little A little overkill. So the entire weight of the trailer could be supported by one axle. No worries. So,
Yeah, like the entire weight.
For the
This
reason
trailer's only
that-
like 5,000 pounds, right?
again, it has a little less suspension travel than some, but in the terrain, there's a lot of scenarios where you could have all the weight on one axle because you're going over a ridge or a step. And if we, if the trailer's only 5,000 pounds, you did 2,500 pound axles, and you were driving on a step, you're going to overload that one axle. Every time you go up that step or over a boulder, you're going to overload that one axle. And that's something that on a highway scenario, it's never an issue.
Yeah.
So a typical highway trailer, you would put half as much. We'd put 3,000 pound axles or 2,500 pound axles, two of them for a 5,000 pound trailer.
Yeah.
You get a nicer ride. Here, because we want tough and rigid, you can put all the weight on one axle and it'll support it.
Well, so speaking of that too, same with your tires, because
With the tires. Yeah.
So, but it's the same concept.
Same
You've got
concept. The
10,000
tire
pounds of tires
and the rim, we've selected the right components so that we could take this whole axle right out of the system and it'd still hold the trailer.
Yeah, it's just and that's what I see. I feel like so many trailer manufacturers that I've seen over the years is they're literally putting on the tire that's rated for the entire trailer at max PSI, fully loaded or barely even fully loaded, dry weight sometimes. And so as long as your tire pressures are always perfect and elements are perfect and you're on a flat road, you're okay.
Exactly.
But if your tire pressure goes down, now you're underrated.
Trailers especially, the most common failure you see tire related with the trailer is a simple curb, driving over a curb, because now they literally put too much weight on the one tire and it blows. It's the number one most common tire failure
On a trailer.
on any trailer is driving over a simple curb, because for that exact reason they put the bare minimum of each tire to support so it takes all 4, 6, 2, depending on how many axles on the trailer.
It takes all the
all
tires
of them
always
together
on the ground
to work to support the entire trailer.
Yeah.
And so we, knowing that, made sure that we wanted to over-design everything so that in the event that you actually are off-roading, driving over curbs, it'll handle it and support it just fine.
Driving over curbs. That's not ridiculous.
I know, it's a simple thing of that.
I can't believe that.
I've actually done that myself.
Yeah.
More than once. It pisses a guy off. It's like, really? A freaking curb to put me out of commission? So I put bigger axles on it just because even at home I got potholes and I was constantly blowing tires. So I beefed it all up.
Ooh. Well, you just saw tires are just as important. They're just as vital. And when I was down at the Xplore manufacturer and I was getting a tour with the owner, he, we went through hubs and then we went inside and we talked about tires, and it was a long scene. But before we cut to that, I just want to talk about, like, nothing can ruin your vacation quicker than a blowout. Tires are actually very, very important. Like, not only does it get you stranded on the side of the road, but it's dangerous. You could get in a car accident. It's not tires. You don't want to mess around with tires. And so many factories that make trailers, they don't truly put the time that they need to get the right tires. They're definitely not certified for half of these trailers out on the road. And if you actually reached out to the tire manufacturers, they would tell you that the tires that are getting put on brand new trailers are not really rated for these trailers. They're all underrated. And it's super frustrating, is because it's like, you build a recreational vehicle that's designed for people to go out and have fun and have a good time. And you're gonna end with putting the cheapest tires on it and potentially have people getting blowouts and getting stranded on the side of the road or getting in a car accident. That's not cool. It's really not cool. And I was just shocked that every time I talk to the owner over at Xplore, everything he does, everything he's been putting into this trailer, he's put a lot of thought into it. It's not just like, let's just choose whatever tire we can, or let's go find the cheapest tire. There's been so much thought that he's put into going into getting the right stuff on this trailer and making sure everything is not just rated for the trailer, but overrated for the trailer. So let's go over back into the manufacturer.
There is a reason behind the tires.
Oh yeah.
So the tires are stronger than the axle. Typically a trailer, the weak link is the tires, not in this application. The tires are 2,600 pound per tire, load range C at up to 50 PSI.
Yeah.
So again, back to the strength of the axle and the trailer, the tires are equally rated for the trailer.
And most trailers you were mentioning, like the weak link is the tire.
A lot of times the limiting factor on ratings that you'll see on trailers is the tire or wheel or a combination of.
Well, over the years, I've always heard people say, oh, when you go and buy a brand new trailer, the first thing you should do is get new tires.
Yeah. A lot of times they put the cheapest tires. Again, industry standard. There's a tremendous amount of tire suppliers that supply inexpensive, readily available trailer tires, because most people don't care what a trailer tire looks like as long as it somewhat, it's round and holds air.
Yeah.
Especially trailers. That's the number one area of cutting corners. Exactly. So these are a brand name. They're a Maxxis tire. These are one of the few off-road tires that actually have a mileage rating. So these are 45,000 mile rating. So most off-road tires, because of their tread design and because of the compounds they use and the conditions that the manufacturers know they're going to be in, will not give a rating, a mileage rating. Maxxis is that confident in their tire. That's why we chose them. They're, believe it or not, around the world, one of the leading tire manufacturers in the world.
Oh, wow.
They're number one when it comes to, a lot of the rally cars and racing, off-road racing around the world. So that's why we chose them. Wonderful company to work with. Love their tires. And being a little harder compound, they're better suited for a trailer. So we actually worked with Maxxis, and they did certify these tires for use on our trailer.
Oh, really? Oh, that's cool.
An off-road tire, I can almost guarantee that we may be the only ones that have that certification.
A certification for action a trailer on off-road. That's cool. Yeah, because I have noticed that some of the trailers that we've gotten, they've I don't know if it's supply and demand issues, but they're changing out the tires. Like, we'll get a new trailer once a month with a different tire, and we're like, what is this tire? And then blowouts too. Like, that's a huge issue.
Yep.
Underrated tires.
Exactly. And this is a size. This is this is a 331050. It's a relatively easy attainable tire. I mean, you got two spares to come with the trailer.
Yeah, that's true.
But it's not a off brand. It's not an off size. So down the road, 5 years from now, you need new tires. It's something you can easily find. It's on a standard 15-inch rim. Aluminum wheels, again, another item. You rarely see aluminum wheels on any trailer.
Yeah.
We chose that route just for, again, to follow our own standards and quality.
Yeah, instead of going with steel. Well, steel's a lot cheaper.
Steel's a lot cheaper.
Yeah.
So the benefit here is the looks and the strength. They're 3,000 pound per wheel rating. So
that's awesome. I hope you have enjoyed this video. I hope you've learned something. When I went out to the manufacturer and I met with the owner and he walked me through everything, I would ask him, why do you use this? Or why do you do that? Or why do you use this? Whatever it was. And I expected at some point for him to say, oh, there's a guy down the street and he gives me a really good deal on this. Or, I did some research and this was the cheapest one that I could find. Surprisingly, I didn't experience that. He always was very thorough and very articulate in how he decided to go with what he went with. He did research, he studied, and then he reached out to the companies. And one of the cool things that he also said is, it's not just about the product, it's also about the company. Like, was their warranty good? Are they good to work with, right? He said it was a lot of different things that would make him decide. One, it had to be very good quality. And then with the quality, he wanted really good support, right? Because if you have a blowout, it's the tire manufacturer or the hub manufacturer. A lot of times you go back to them to get warranty, right? And so he didn't want to just find any company that, you know, yeah, we make a good product, but we don't support you after the deal. So I was just super, super impressed over and over and over how much I was like, this guy has really been thinking all from every angle. You know, sometimes I go out and do some research and I might think 1, 2, or 3 angles, and it felt like he was looking at it, you know, from 5, 10, 20, 30 angles, and really caring about what he puts on this trailer. And it wasn't about cost. It wasn't about how can we make it cheaper. It was always about how can I get the best thing, and what's gonna last the longest, and what's gonna hold up to the harsh environments of off-roading and everyday use. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and tell your friends about it. Hit that notification bell, and have a wonderful day. Now, for the most important thing. Look at this for a second. So if you saw that, that was really cool. Blew my mind.